All right, Big Belly fans, it is approximately 6 o'clock in the evening on Saturday night, August the 14th, and the sky is getting gray and ominous back there. It was supposed to rain today, and I suppose it'll be raining tonight. I can just see the gray clouds. Anyway, Stephen has been out here literally all day. All day. I just now brought him some cold water. He is sweating profusely, and you can see the remnants of all his working out here. I don't even know what this thing is. That looks like some type of animal trap. I have no idea what that is because I'm not a tool person. And that's one big wrench right there. Look at that. That's one big wrench. Anyhow, as I have been in the house working on other YouTube videos, and if you're keeping up with our channel, you know that I have posted some YouTube videos today, August the 14th. So I've been inside on the computer. AJ's been doing household chores. He's been doing laundry, and he's been doing dishes and driving me crazy. That's what he does best these days. So, and he enjoyed having his first Saturday of the school year where he didn't have to go to school. So, oh, you can see some more black clouds overhead. Let's zoom in on those. So I suppose we're going to have a big rain tonight. So, Stephen's got all the tools of the trade spread out here. And as you all know, he fixed the AC yesterday. And I've heard him hammering a lot today. What has been your major project for today, Stephen?
Tie rod ends.
Are you getting close to getting those done? You want to take a break and tell me about it real quick? I mean, I brought you some water.
See, that's what happens when you get a YouTube channel and your wife has your phone when you're not looking. All of a sudden in your middle of working on something, you're battling for everything your work, trying to figure out how to get something done. Along comes, "Hey, Stephen, you want to tell everybody about what's going on?" Oh, let's see, I got grease in my teeth and my eyes and my ears. And my cracks, wherever there's grease could be, that's where I got grease, because I've been working in the grease all day. So that's what's going on with me. What's going on with you?
You did not say crack, did you? You did not say that. Well, I mean, I brought you some cold water. I thought you might could take a break and
But I spent part of the day, yesterday when I was running the air conditioner, it was just fine. Except for the front one wasn't as cold as the back one. And if you look over there, there's a air duct from outside. And the door doesn't close very well inside here. So, yeah, it looks simple enough. All you got to do is take it off, right? Well, in order to take that off, you got to take this off. In order to take that off, you got to take that off. So I had to take all this off and that off, and it's a force of habit. Anytime I take something apart, I got to clean it up before I put it back together. So of course I cleaned it all back up, but the door is in there, and it opens like this, and it's got a real weak lever on it. And so anytime the fan comes on, that door just opens up and it pulls air from outside, and that's why the air conditioner wasn't getting as cold in the cab as it was in the sleeper. Because the inside doesn't have a door, it just pulls air from the inside. So anyway, what I did is took this off and got to the door, got it all cleaned up, and put some plastic over it because I never opened the door anyway from outside. And so that door is closed now. And then once I got that all completed, then I started on this tie rod end over here, and I got it changed out now. But I couldn't find my fork And what that fork does, it goes between the pitman arm and the tie rod in, and as it goes in, it spreads out and pops it out for you. Well, I couldn't find it nowhere, so, and it is Saturday and it's in the afternoon, and so I went to O'Reilly's. That's 2 days in a row I went to O'Reilly's and couldn't get nothing out of them, so
They didn't have.
they recommended that I go to a towing place. I went over there, it was closed. So then they recommended that I went to the flatbed place, and I went over there, they didn't have nothing. So I said, well, heck with it, I just have to deal with it another time. So came home and went in the garage and went right to my fork.
No!
It was still in the package.
No!
Hadn't even opened it up yet.
So you went to town for it?
So anyway, but I pretty much used it all up because it was nice and pretty in the package. See? Just today. It used to look like that.
So you mean you
So
went...
look at what I did. I curled it up, bent it up, smashed it up, but it did its job.
So what is it called?
So I got this off. That's called a fork.
But and it's used for...
Ball joint separator. You want the official name? Pickle fork.
It's called a pickle fork?
Yep. So anyway, so yes, I finally got this side off, and now I'm on the driver's side. But I need to get that done, and as soon as I'm done with that, then I need to put the drag link on, and then I got my tie rod ends in the back. So, and of course, I haven't got to the oil leak yet. Seems like that oil leak just keeps getting away.
Does that, Stephen, that has got to be frustrating. You went to 3 different places in town, and then you came home and you found it?
Oh, well, that's the way life is, I guess. So.
Do you think that's the forces of the devil working against us?
It's a monkey's uncle was working against me.
Uh-huh.
So. Anyway, so I got him off. Now I got to work on getting this dude out. That last one, I had to wrestle with it. That dude was in there. And my Pete, when I changed those, I loosened up that clamp right there, and it turned right out. These here, this just truck, I don't know what it is. I guess everything on it's original, and it's 21 years old. When you go to get it off, that's 21 years of, I've been here, you make me get off.
Wow.
So you have to fight everything. Anytime you work on this truck, it's a battle. So anyway, so I'm finally to this point now. I need to get that ball joint out of there, or tie rod in out of there.
And what does a tie rod do?
It ties both ends together. That end to that end. Makes both wheels go together.
Okay.
See how it crosses? It crosses to the other side.
Yes.
That's what it does. When it forces one wheel to turn with the other wheel. And when those ball joints get loose, it gets a little where it likes to follow the ruts in the road. So.
Well, when I was plugging around on the computer, I heard you banging. And were you banging with that mallet? What is that, a mallet?
Yeah, I sent my wife to the store to pick me up a cheap sledgehammer, and $150 later she come back with that thing. Well, so they said, I'm sure those people saw you coming when you walked in the door. $150 sledgehammer.
Is that not, I mean, was that a highway robbery?
Well, how many times have I used that in the last 20 years?
Well, you're using it now.
Well, I guess if you got one good use out of it, it paid for itself.
Is it a good one?
I guess.
Wow.
So anyway, Big Belly fans,
So yeah, we're getting closer to being done. It's just everything is a battle on this truck, and even if I have to take a couple more days off, I want everything fixed before I pull out of here this time, because when I leave up out of here, it's all about making money. I don't want any more troubles.
Well, you were looking at loads
See,
yesterday.
I ran this truck. I spent a month getting it ready, and that was all the cab and everything. And but I wasn't familiar with the truck on what it would do on the road. But after I pulled out, and then I spent 2 months driving it, I got real familiar with it, and learned real quick that the rabbit seats hurt my butt, killed my butt. And then once we fixed that, then it was the air conditioner and the APU unit. I got the APU unit where it will run. It still doesn't want to cool. It'll cool on very low. So if it's cool, like at night, it runs all through the night. But if it's hot, it ain't going to run. Now you can start up the motor and run the air conditioner in the truck and get it cool and turn on the APU unit, and then it'll run. I don't know what the deal is. I have one hose that I took off and ran it around where the electronics are, and it makes it run. So when you keep the unit cool, it will run for you. So I don't know what's going on. I ain't had time to take it by carrier, and so, but that's not keeping me from making money. So we'll deal with that one of these days. The heater works on it, so I know it'd be good for the winter time. And it'd also be good for a backup to charge up the batteries, which I do that quite often. But I got to get these tie rod ends, and then I got to get the sway bar ends, and the drag link, and then I need to. And when I took that breather off, I checked the filter, because when I asked Bob about it, he didn't give me an answer if he changed them or not. So I looked it over real good, and it looks nice and clean. So I don't see any reason to changing that filter. These filters, and so yeah, just get these ball joints done, idler arm and the torsion bars on the rear end, and an oil leak.
That's still a long list. Now, and also, what about tires? You said something.
And the valve in there for the heater. So, but I'm gonna drain a couple of 5-gallon buckets of antifreeze out of the system, so I can go ahead and just disconnect these hoses and get it out of my way, so I can get this thing out of my way, so I can get back there and clean that all up. So, and I don't want to do that, but that's what I'm going to have to do. So.
Now, what about tires? You also have said that you wanted to replace some tires.
Yeah, but I can get tires. I can do that on the road.
That's something you
I
can.
don't have to do that here.
No.
Everybody around here, I can't find anybody fair around here anyway. So.
Right. Now, is your Uncle Don, he said that this must be a Freightliner thing, that you didn't have nearly the problems with the Peterbilt.
Well, the difference between this truck and the Peterbilt, most of I was only doing Facebook at the time, and so most of the Facebook people really didn't know what was going on, because I didn't really do anything on Facebook at that time, and that was what, 6 years ago?
You mean YouTube?
7 years ago?
We weren't doing YouTube.
I was doing Facebook at the time. So, but when I first got the Peterbilt, I think it had almost 400,000 on a major overhaul, and the rears were replaced. And I never did get a straight story on the transmission, but I never had a problem with the transmission. So, but that being said, so the running gear was fresh in it, just like this one here. But that truck was falling apart. First time I walked up on it, it smelled like I stuck my head in a freaking ashtray before I even got past the duals. I could smell the nicotine coming out of it. I opened the door, and it had tan interior, or was it gray? Gray interior, and you could see the nicotine where it had rolled down the walls, and it was awful. And I made it. I drove it straight to the house, took all the interior out of it, cleaned it up. The doors were rattling; they wouldn't even shut. And so, needless that being said, the Peterbilt had a lot of work on it too. And so I had good running gear, but the truck was falling apart. And the 5-6 years that I owned it, I built it up to what it was. And it was a fine piece of machinery when I sold it. And it broke my heart to sell it. And it still does when I think about it. And the trailer too is a beautiful trailer, all aluminum. And so, but I had to do what I had to do when I had to do it. So that's just the way life is. When sometimes that's just the way life is. So I had to let it go. And so, and then went to fire up this business, and I haven't given up on this business. I just need to catch up on finances.
You're talking about how you have not given up on the motorcycles.
Big belly rebuilds.
Right.
I haven't given up on big belly rebuilds.
Right, which initially started...
I just have to have finances. And so in order to make finances, I went and bought this truck here. Now, this truck here has got good bones. I mean, it's got all the running gear in it is fresh. And the truck only had 1 million miles on it. And that's not a lot. Not on a truck that's 21 years old. It has no cancer. The frame, the chassis, I've seen trucks a couple years old that have more rust on the chassis than this thing has. The chassis is really wonderful shape. This truck's in excellent shape. It's a freaking freight shaker, and I don't really care for freight shakers. Never did. I've always been a Peterbilt man. And I never did care for freight shakers. But you know what? Sometimes that's just the way life is, and this is what it got. I mean, it's not a piece of junk. It's got a good run. It's got good running gear in it. It's not a bad-looking truck. It's just a freight shaker. So I just have to do what I got to do to make it, because it's my truck, and it's going to be my truck for the next...
However long.
Next 3 years, anyway.
Right.
So anyway, so might as well make the best of it. And I'm just working at the bugs on it. It doesn't have a lot of bugs. It's just a few things, you know, that needed to be tightened up here and there. But now the air conditioner was the first major problem that I had when it blew out. That was a big deal. And then that AP unit was a big deal. Other than that, and the oil leak is a big deal. So, especially when it lost all that oil over there on Route 666.
Oh, let's not even go there.
So,
let's not even go there. Wow.
Speaking of which, the mechanic over there, Freightliner, I was telling him about that plate. And he said that that's not caused by pressure. He said that's actually caused by torque. He said that the torque of the motor twisting is causing that plate to flex. And that's what causes it to leak. Now, I don't know how true that is. He seemed to know what he was talking about, but it really doesn't matter. I need to get the oil leak fixed regardless. And it's really not a fix. It's just a Band-Aid. But I need to get it Band-Aid up because I don't want oil all over my truck. I don't like losing oil. And I don't like the fact that when I look at loads, I know if I get anything over 30,000 pounds, it's going to cause it to leak oil more. So
do you think Bob Fair, he was the one that sold you the truck, do you think, does he still watch our videos, or do you know?
Now and then, I guess.
So, I wonder what he's thinking about all these things that you're having to deal with. I guess he's glad.
Bob been in trucking since the 60s. And he's owned trucks from the 60s. In fact, he's got a truck right now from the 60s that he went and bought just so he had something to fix. Because that's Bob. And anybody that's an owner-operator knows if you ain't buying a brand new truck that's owned under, that's got a warranty under it where you could take it in and the shop will fix it for you, and you're paying $5,000 a month in payments or whatever, then you're going to have a used truck. And any owner-operator that owns a used truck knows that you have to do the maintenance. So, and I know it seems like a lot right now, but my goal is to get this all done now, because when winter gets here, I don't want to be farting around with this thing. I want to be able to come home, close the door, and go in the house and lay my head down.
Yeah.
I don't want to be working on this thing come wintertime. It's rough enough to be out here sweating my butt off, let alone out here when it's freezing. Let me tell you, that's pretty rough, and I've done that before. So
yes,
I want to get all the problems fixed now.
Right, of course, of
So
course.
I want to get her buttoned up. I mean, after this, I don't foresee any more problems. Hopefully.
Right.
So I'm thinking now that once I get what I'm doing now, this should take care of all the problems and get me through the rest of the year.
So, Stephen, do you think that in order to be an owner-operator, it's almost a qualification or a requirement that somebody has mechanical skills, a mechanical know-how?
Unless they make enough money where they can buy a new truck and keep it under warranty. So.
If they have money bags, they can do that.
Well, I mean, if they, you just have to work it out. If you want to buy trucks that are under warranty, we got people at least on Elite. That's what they do. They buy new trucks, and when the warranty is almost up, they sell it, and then they get another new truck. They just go from one new truck. They stay in that payment mode,
Right.
and that keeps them from doing like Steven and having to work on them. But if you noticed, I didn't work on the Pete all the time anymore. Once I worked out all the bugs, I mean, she ran good for me.
Right.
Except for that time I changed the injectors, and I bought cheap injectors, and I shouldn't have done that because that cheap injector nearly cost me a motor. Filled up my motor full of diesel over there on Route 666.
Oh my!
And
It's always back to the 666.
and I had to pull my injectors on the side of the road and replace them on the side of the road, and that led to the front main bearing going bad. And so that week that I sold the truck, I put that main bearing in there. If you notice the header on our channel where it shows the Peterbilt in the front of the truck, that was the last time I worked on it. I was putting that front main seal in there from that injector pumping 100,000 gallons into the motor. And so, as Ricky would say, that's a hyperbole.
Yeah. Do you not know what your wife says or what?
Anyway, you got a 15-minute video there.
Actually, it's 21 minutes, actually. So.
All right.
Oh, wait. Let's let AJ sign off with you. Come on, AJ. Let him help. He loves to do the sign off with Daddy.
Ricky gonna haunt you down with a camera.
AJ, Daddy's fixing to sign off. I know
Now
you.
it's gonna get dark and rain. I ain't done.
Well, but Stephen, all right, AJ, Daddy's gonna do a sign off.
Peace. God bless. And
well, wait a minute.
Wait.
Today's Saturday. So on Saturdays, people are trying to have fun. So you tell them, all right, everybody, have lots of fun. Enjoy your Saturday. God bless. And
later.